See, Takuma Swami.
Okay, you can move it back a little bit.
Yeah. No, you don't need me.
He wants you next time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is what is today? Friday night. So this should be our gospel class. But because of the weekend retreat, because we have Swami Kripamayananda Maharaj here, our special guest from the Vedanta Society of Toronto, that we're just having a little informal session. If anybody would like to ask anything, if anybody would like to hear Swamiji say anything about his center, his joining, reminiscences, anything, then feel free to ask. And I will be here for moral support, but I will disappear. Not all at once.
Should I begin? Or? So let me begin then with the pranam as it is a gospel class with the Mangalacharan for from the Kathamrita. Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavi Viridam Kalmashapaham Shravana Mangalam Srimadatam Bhuvi Grinanti Ye Bhurida Jana. Very happy to come back again to Washington DC Center on invitation of Swami Atmagyanandaji, and for the retreat tomorrow and day after tomorrow. It is a very nice gathering of devotees, and we have many speakers. We have very senior Nan Swami Buddha Prana Mataji. I'm so happy to meet her, and she will also be participating in the retreat and speaking. You'll be happy to listen to her, and Abhagyananji also will have some discussion, some guided meditation. The topic she's chosen this time for the retreat, it's very easy book, very simple book of question and answers composed by Shankaracharya. It's very interesting, and many vital questions he asks, and then he replies in the same verse. So that would be an interesting meeting tomorrow and day after tomorrow. Very, very short, small booklet of few pages, having only 67 verses. And that all inspires us to make our spiritual life intact, and many doubts or explanation would be there on the things that how we can remain spiritual while performing our duties in the world. We live in the world and has a lot of responsibility, and yet we want to explore our spiritual nature. So it's a big challenge. Big challenge. Sri Ramakrishna used to call it like moving with a heavy load. So that is what the family person, householders think about exploring spirituality while performing all the duties of the world. As if attached to the world and yet detached. That's what Sri Ramakrishna is saying, as he says in example of the servant, maid servant in the rich man's house. So that is Sri Ramakrishna's thing, how we should live in the world. By that we can explore our spiritual nature. We can find out who we really are, and yet not totally dissociated from our responsibilities to the world. And while exploring our spiritual nature, there comes changes in our life attitude, behavior, and it becomes more sweeter, more nicer, and our love for God increases, and with that, our real love for world also starts happening and increases. True love. True love is when we don't seek anything for ourselves, but we become more of worshipping. Worshipping means giving, offering. So that's how we need our life to become more spiritually advanced, spiritually mature. Then we enjoy our human life really. Otherwise, human life is just it goes like any other life system of any animal. So we need to utilize it fully. For that, the spiritual life to be attained and made mature and practical, and live a life of spirituality in this world. So this is what for that we read gospel every in many houses they read every day, and in ashrams it's on Fridays. Actually, in Toronto also we do gospel every Friday. So here also every Friday from we do from 7:30. What time we do, Morris? Yeah.
We do from 8 till 9.
8 to 9. We do 7:30 to 8:30 in Toronto Center and many centers do gospel. It is such a wonderful scripture that is the essence of all scriptures. Swami Ishatmananji calls it Panchama Veda. So rightfully, like it is a Veda. It's a treasure house of all knowledge and essence of all knowledge. Said in very simple language, in a practical way. Nothing is there that is not understandable. If we read Vedas or Upanishads, only words and its translation is very difficult to really understand. We can understand the meaning, but what does it mean? How to apply it in our life is becomes difficult. But in gospel, everything becomes applicable. We can apply everything that Sri Ramakrishna says in the gospel, and he gives so many examples, talking with so many different kind of people. How and something we find, yes, he's saying to that person, but it is message is for me. People feel like that. There had been one very great Kannada writer, Kuvempu, who translated the gospel into Kannada language in Karnataka. He, in the beginning, introduction of the gospel, he said very wonderful things. I'd like to read that to you. How much praise he had. He was very much into the Sri Ramakrishna, as Sri Ramakrishna diluted in the thought of, in the idea of Sri Ramakrishna. There, Kuvempu has very wonderful saying about the gospel, how great is the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. He says, the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna is a veritable temple on one's palm, a veritable hermitage on one's palm, a veritable place of pilgrimage on one's palm. But unlike a temple or a place of pilgrimage, there is no chance of its getting polluted, nor is there any chance of its getting dilapidated like the structure of a temple. The home that houses this gospel will itself become a temple. The hand that holds it will be holding the very lotus feet of the Lord. The tongue on which its letters roll will be savoring nectar itself. The gospel is the repository of bliss. It is the ocean of peace. It is the manna of divine knowledge. It is the friend that stands by you in the hour of trial. It is the Guru that, at the moment of overwhelming joy, counsels humility and devotion and makes you feel that you are an offering at the Lord's feet. It is the touch that shows your way in darkness. It is the staff to lean upon while trudging on an uneven path. It is the pole star that guides you when you are lost in wilderness. It is the quintessence of the Vedas and the Upanishads. After reading it, even the most ordinary literate need not feel jealous at any scholar, nor does he feel inferior to any scholar of eminence. On the other hand, he feels that by the grace of God, none is more blessed than himself. he attains peace and fulfillment. He acquires the vastness of the sky, the height of the highest of mountains, and the dignity of the ocean. Never before had God incarnated in such an approachable form, nor had the voice of the Lord shaped itself into a book that could be read and understood by the most ordinary of men and women. So, this is the introduction that Kuvempu says about the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna and Sri Ramakrishna life itself. So, that great is that scripture of Gospel. If we read the Gospel as it is said about the Gita, Gita Sugita Kartavya Kimanyat Shastra Vistarai. If you study Gita well and follow its teaching, what you need to know about other scriptures, it is enough. Like that is the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. If we could practice the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, it fulfills the need of all scriptures. Upanishads, Gita, all the teachings are there in the gospel, and so beautiful parables, stories that are there in the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna.
When did you first read the Gospel Letters?
Gospel I read after joining actually.
After joining. How did you come to join?
Yeah, that is the thing.
Yeah.
What happened is, so that was the story that you also told. Not much is there in my joining, Maharaj. It's your story. You have heard very interesting how you joined the order. Mine is also purely it was the grace of Thakur that he brought me. I read a very small booklet published by Advaita Ashram. And then I read that, and then I thought of very disturbed I was in life, worldly life. Then I wrote to.
How old were you?
I was, I think, 22. Then I wrote to. I got the address of Ramakrishna Mission monk. Don't know anything about Ramakrishna Mission, and wrote to whomever I got the name as the publisher of that book, and to the address that was given there. It was Swami Kripamayananda, Mayavati District, Champaran, UP. That was the address I sent a letter. And later did reach him, and it reached him when he was in Ranchi, had gone to some function, Swami Buddhanandaji. And then he wrote me back, from your letter, I don't understand whether you want to join the order or not. If you want to join the order, here's the form, fill up the form and send. Won't you say it's God's grace to join any monastic organization? You have to approach and they will see, and then they will decide whether you can fit or not. So many things happen before you join. Here is the thing coming. If you want to join, fill up the form. Unknown person.
Were you in Asansol before?
I wasn't in
before
Asansol.
that?
No. It was in somewhere else. So, very remote place. And then after few days, I fill up the form and send him. And he got the form and he said, okay, now you can go to Purulia. He sent me actually to Purulia. And he thought that services might be good or something. Then he said I could have kept. When before I went to Purulia, I came to Kolkata to meet him. He was in Advaita Ashram that time. Just before he transferred from Advaita Ashram Kolkata to Delhi Ashram to take the charge. And he said, I'm going to meet you. He never asked me to come to meet him. He said, go to Purulia. So I thought, let me go and meet him.
But how can he's not general secretary or anything?
Yeah.
How did he?
No, just he wanted to know about filling the form. That was not the final filling of the form. That was to know my attitude, wish, what is my real purpose. That was that. That was not the form fill up. So by that he somehow had the feeling that I want to really join the order, or I'd be fit to become a monk. Then he sent me to Purulia, and of course I had to wait. I didn't have even initiation before joining. I had to wait for initiation and wait for form fill up. They don't allow to fill the form.
Purulia?
Swami Kripamayananda was there in Purulia, secretary. So under his wings, it was very nice with all his love and care. He just guided me in monastic life.
Uh-huh.
And after that, after I joined, there two other brahmacharis also joined. So we had two or three brahmacharis. There were two senior brahmacharis already there. And there I met one very, Pravanji was very wonderful guide and very loving monk for me. He guided me in spiritual life in the beginning. There were two senior brahmacharis. They were also very good, and two senior monks, two or three I remember. And there was one headmaster of the school. He just had sannyasa that year. Swami Amarananda was his name.
Uh-huh.
So he's now in Geneva in Switzerland. So I was with him. So he was he's very learned, and he guided us in spiritual life. We used to walk after dinner in the evening, and he used to talk about spiritual life, about the stories of the monks. He himself joined the order after. He was very close to Swami Pramathanandaji. Pramathanandaji was secretary of Swami Madhavanandaji, and Madhavanandaji was guru of Swami Amaranji. So Amaranji and Swami Girishanandaji, all they went to Madhavanandaji with wish to join the order. So they all were posting some. So Pramathanandaji said where to post Amarananda. He's very knowledgeable and sophisticated and all that. So he finally said him to go to Belgharia. He went to Belgharia and started working as a teacher there, paid teacher. In Belgharia, there's Polytechnic School. He was an engineer by training and gold medalist. And then he stayed there for to watch how monastic life is, whether I can do or not. So before he joined the order, he stayed in his house 1 month without talking with anyone. So food is to given to me in his room, and he could stay that 1 month without speaking, without seeing, without talking. So that's how methodical he was, very serious. And then he joined. He that time the secretary in there was Ashish Maharaj. His name was Ashish Chaitanya. What is his name? Holy Mother's disciple in Belgaria. So he served him, he got trained to him, and that's why he was very rich with all the stories of mother's disciples. And there was his brother was there, who later became head of the center. What is his name? Dhyanatmananda. He was there. And later on.
Amaranji, he came here twice, Maharaj.
He
In
came
the
here
very
twice.
beginning of the center.
Oh,
So 26 years ago, probably. Yeah.
So
Just to the old guest house.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. In fact, I also stayed in an old guest house once when I came for the temple opening that time.
Yeah.
It was also very good. And this Amaranji said many things from the scriptures. He used to quote from the Upanishads and the stories. So it was very ennobling. And Pravanji also used to give class, and we used to have reading, give class to brahmacharis on the Gita. And that was how I grew up with looking after the students. That was the job, hostel warden, then few classes like that. So I was in Purulia for 12 years. In between, I was in training center for 2 years, came back, and still. So that was the thing, 76 to 90.
Then after that?
After that, to Asansol.
Asansol.
Asansol, Swami Girishanandaji was head. Swami Girishanandaji is now vice president. He is a very wonderful person of very loving nature, and very simple, loving, and very intelligent. But he will not impose anything on you much. He used to give freedom for me to work. I was headmaster in the Asansol, and he never did any. He was the secretary and head of the institution. He never interfered in anything. But whenever needed some guidance, he was always ready. Wonderful way of working of the secretary without ego. With him worked another Swami. In fact, with both Amarananda and Girishananda. That Swami was later become secretary and other centers. He was brahmachari when I joined Purulia. He said, I met two Swamis who really are so wonderful and had no ego at all. One is Swami Amarananda, one is Swami Girishananda. So that he said, he worked with him as headmaster in Malda. and Girishananji was secretary there.
Uh,
So from Malda he came to Purulia, Asansol, sorry, Asansol. So these two monks were so wonderful monks. I could be see in life, and they're very so simple, non-ego, not egoistic at all, no ego as if no pride of anything. Very, very good sadhu, learned also.
uh-huh.
Girishanandaji also very learned model.
Uh,
Whenever gospel is read, he has so much. They did a lot of tapasya also in the Himalaya. And gospel song, he doesn't sing, but he remembers songs.
Uh-huh.
Many songs that when the gospel is read, something is mistake, he will correct that. This song is that way. So very learned. Swami Girishanandaji. Girishanandaji came here, Maharaj, here also twice, no? He came? I
Yeah.
think two times he came
I
here.
think so. Probably.
He came to Toronto also earlier.
Yeah.
So that is the association I had with monks.
Uh-huh.
And yes, I got initiation from Prabhu Maharaj, Swami Vireshwaranandaji. And then sannyasa from Swami Gambhiranandaji Maharaj in 86. That is my how I became a monk.
How you were posted to Toronto?
God, they said go to Toronto. Wherever they said go to Asansol, and that's our system. We don't say
Were you
anything.
excited when you found out you were going to Toronto?
Yeah, little I was. I didn't know the center in the West how it happened. Yes, of course, I was excited because it was. I never expected that they will send me to some foreign country. Then I first when I got the GS Maharaj told we're trying to send you to Toronto. I called Ishatmanandaji. He was in where was he? He was in Narottam Nagar.
Narottam.
So they asked me to go to Toronto. What should I say to them? They gave me opportunity to whether we are going to send you. But it was their advice or question is like order. So he said, Ishatmanji said, go to Toronto. The Swami there is very nice. He is not like other persons that will do. He's very loving. Our Pramathanandaji.
But you knew him from before.
Had seen him, but no contact.
No, you didn't really know.
No. Because when I joined in Purulia, he had already left 1 year ago.
Oh. Okay.
I only saw him when he was
You
coming
didn't
to
overlap.
San Francisco.
Uh-huh.
I think at that time I was in training center. So that
Yeah,
time
tell you something because many of us know him very well. He
Yes.
used to come every year.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it was
Before our
very
center
close.
started.
Even before the center started.
Yeah.
He stayed with Irina Vasu and usually at her house, and everybody knew him. And
Yes.
then, every year they closed in August, I believe. So he used to come
Oh,
here.
yes.
Year after year he came here.
July, August.
Yeah.
Toronto was
So
closed.
we all
So
knew him
Toronto
very well.
Ashram is all his made thing. The house
And
that
even
we
before
have.
from Sacramento.
Yeah,
I
from
I
Sacramento
knew
also
him in
is
those
popular. You know
days.
from him that time.
Yeah, sure. I remember when he first came to Sacramento.
In Toronto, he came. There was no small house was there, but it was in a residential area. So he moved to this place and made it like ashram. We could put signboard and all that. Otherwise, they couldn't even put the sign there. It was in residential area that devotee had made. So he moved here. While moving, also there were many problems. Devotee didn't want to move. They said it is too big for our congregation. It's so small. How will you going to manage it financially? So that was big thing. Many people didn't want to make it. They thought it's too big. But now it has become small. People are thinking how to manage the
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
Puja time, Durga Puja time, car parking is so difficult. And that time, Swamiji, when he saw, he was not there when they saw the house, devotees, and they liked it. And Swamiji came back, had gone out somewhere. Came back and he said, it's wonderful, very nice. It's a nice place. Mataji had not come to Toronto. Mataji, you should come once to Toronto. Yeah, you should come to, when is Mataji going?
I would say in a couple of weeks.
Couple of weeks.
In less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, and you need the US visa. Next time, maybe when you come to US with Canadian She was visa. You said?
Now she took Indian citizenship.
So now you
Yeah.
need US Canadian visa now.
Yeah.
So he came, and then there was talk going on always. Many are saying it's too big for us to this. How will you manage mortgage and keep up and all the heating? All we'll do. So all this was going, but Pramothanji had decided to keep. Then one of the devotees suddenly stood up and said, "Last night in my dream, I saw Thakur come to me and say, buy that house. This is and that he said so. He was not telling lie. He said so, you know, fervently, fervently he said, and then they decided to buy that house.
But
And
I
when
said,
Sadhu saw,
uh,
Prabhudananji had very nice comment on that. Prabhudanji said that this is so beautiful house in the place, as if Thakur prepared this house in heaven, Ramakrishna Loka, and dropped it here for himself. Like that was the comment. And this comment was told to me by Swami Gautamanandaji. When I was to come to Toronto, I was in Gold Park for a few days. I was staying there. So there he told, Gautamanji in the sea of send-off was there. So he told me this, that Prabhudanji told this thing.
Maharaj, when in 1996, when there was a proposal for this Washington D.C. Center, that they needed board approval in Hollywood, and most of them were against it.
You see?
Yeah, and
You see?
one of the board members had a dream.
You see? Thakur works out
Yeah,
wonderfully.
Swami
My
Prabhupada came
God.
to in a dream and
Ah.
said, "Yes, this will be a good
Oh
thing."
my
So he told
God.
everybody, and then they passed it.
You see,
Barely
wonderful,
passed it.
wonderful. How is the Swami Prabhuvanandaji. And Swami Brahmanji saw in dream to someone in Brazil to make the orphanage there, to find
that's a wonderful
water
story.
there.
That's a
So
wonderful story.
beautiful.
See her,
Sihar Mutt also?
Sihar, Jayanbati. It seems Atmastanandaji had a dream. Mother came to him in the dream and told him that place in Shihar, that's my place. And Sardamat should have that place. So he told our General Secretary, Amlapranaji, on the phone, that this is what happened. But she didn't do anything about it. She didn't take it very seriously, or what? Or maybe thought, how can we afford to do what? How will we do? And then again, he called her afterwards. He said, "Mother has come to me again 2 more times and told me in dream that that place is for Sardamat. Why didn't you buy it?"
My gosh, you see how Thakur works. And there is a story of some toothpaste that mother wanted in Mayarbadi. In Bagbazar, they used to offer some toothpaste, special toothpaste for mother. And somehow that toothpaste is called Gudaku. So it had finished. And he forgot to offer. Next day also he forgot to ask to buy something, the pujari. And the third day, one lady devotee comes from somewhere on corner of Kolkata and says, "Mother came to my dream and she said, my children have forgotten to give me that. Can you buy that and give to them?" And it was given to the secretary Maharaj there, President Maharaj. And he said, "No, we offer that every day. Why could we forget? How could it happen?" Then Pujari was called and, "Did you forget to offer this?" He said, "Oh, yes, Maharaj. It was finished and I forgot to ask the people to procure it, buy it. And then really I had forgotten." Then say, that president, Maharaj, whoever the president of the center, head of the center said, "Mother's words are so strange. She could have given dream to us."
Yeah.
To me, at least. Why she had to say the devotee far away from the ashram, from Udbodhan? And still that way, they really work in dream. So many beautiful stories of dream. That's why Swami Ashokanandi used to say the dreams are of 2 types. One is that what we think or what we wish, that comes to unfulfilled wishes. And other is vegetation. Really, God comes in dream. So that happens. God. So Thakur used to also say, when Master Moshe saw the dream, he described in the Gospel that he's walking on the bridge and somebody were walking, say, "Come follow me." And I asked, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to Bhavanipur, the city of Mother, Divine Mother." And Thakur said, "What a wonderful dream. My hairs are standing on end. You should take initiation." Thakur said that. So that's how the dreams are sometimes very real, and really the visitation of the divine to guide us. So wonderful. Thank you very much.
Is it food ready? Yeah, while they're getting up the food, getting everything, anybody can ask. How many years did you overlap with Swami Pramatananji?
Only 3 weeks.
Only
in
3 weeks.
Toronto, only 3 weeks.
Okay, because I
came,
went to,
he-
yeah, to see him.
day-
You hadn't come yet.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The day I landed in Toronto, that day itself was like the last day.
Really?
Hmm. When I was in Gold Bar preparing to come,
Yeah.
that time I got to know he had cancer. Before that, it was not known. He was only sick. That
Oh.
time, Balabhadranji told me,
Uh-huh.
got the information that cancer has been found.
Uh-huh.
So then it was time to hurry and all that.
Uh-huh.
Then when I came, that was very serious day for him. It was 21st of July in 2003.
Yeah.
And next day, 22nd July, Mataji, he spoke with me. He spoke about his days in Purulia. He used to love Purulia center very much. He
Yes.
traveled many centers,
Yeah.
but Purulia he liked very much. Um, and he had made many innovations in there, how to administer the school, run the school, all those things were there. He was headmaster and also later he became secretary of the school. So he was talking about how he transformed a few people who were not leading a very good life,
Uh-huh.
like uh, some say they were like they're robbing other people or something like that, and he transformed them into devotees of Thakur by his contact when he was secretary, and they were Muslims by religion, and to be surprised, they made later on library called Vivekananda Muslim Library in their village.
Mm.
Vivekananda Muslim Library.
Wow.
And that gentleman had come once in Purulia in one program, and he started talking about Pramathananji, and then he broke. He started crying.
Mm.
He was like that hefty man, but he said he was like my guru. He said, he is my guru. He's now gone to US. I cannot see him. So much of love he had. Swami Pramathananji had spread among the people, among the villages, other than even the school. He was that way. When he came to Toronto, his influence among the devotees was great. As a real lover of people, he ate very little, but when some devotees were asked, "What should I bring Swamiji to you?" he used to ask some one or two items. And then he used to guide how to prepare that in details.
Yes.
Put these spices, fry it this time. And they brought it, he would take very small piece, not for eating himself, but he knew that that will keep them engaged and they will feel good. So like that was fatherly figure was Pramothanand.
And he would give a grade to it. Oh, this is first class. This is second class. A minus, B plus.
He was very fond of tea, and for tea, he used to have a special way to make a tea. Pot has to be warmed, and there is to be timer to how much long to brew, and the tea leaves and all that. Very, very methodical. Very methodical he was.
Well, when we went to see him, I went with two of our local devotees,
Hmm.
and it was that SARS was going on at the time. It was something like
Oh,
COVID,
yes.
and they
yes,
weren't
yes.
allowing people into the hospital, but they
Ah.
made all exceptions for him. And when we saw him, they let us stay, and no one else was allowed to stay. They were very nice, and uh, he kept his routine there, and they allowed him to burn incense in the room. Because they all loved him
Oh my
there.
God!
Well,
Yeah,
they made all special exceptions for
yeah,
him.
exactly.
He would do his meditation and chanting and
My
everything, and
God.
yeah, he kept his routine that way. This was probably a week or two before he died.
Yeah, when he came, we are discharged from the hospital. He stayed in the ashram for hospice. Doctor used to come and examine him.
Yeah.
So many nurses came, like all the nurses and doctors came
Yeah,
to
they
see
loved
him
him,
off
and, yeah.
when he came from the hospital.
Yeah.
He was so kind. One day in between, after I went there, one day he was at night at 12 o'clock, he became very sick and almost passing. Then emergency, then he was to be 911 had to be called, and he went to emergency. But they found that he survived. He survived. Then they send him back around 2 o'clock, 2 a.m. Then he comes and then he says, he would write, his voice had stopped more. From 23rd of July, his voice had stopped. And then he wrote on a piece of paper and told to the our people that give them samosa and laddus to those paramedics and driver of the this paramedic. Samosa and laddu. Everybody who came was always fed by Swamiji. So he was so kind and loving. Many stories. Many people in trouble. Once one lady came to him and was saying about her difficulties in her life, what is she facing. And then while saying, she started crying, shedding tears of saying her woes and all those. And then she said to me later on that when I lift my head to see the response of Swami Kripamayananda, I found himself, he was crying too. Then what to ask from him? So that type of kindness he had for the people. Not only kind like mother, but he was like father also in training the people, what they should do, how they should approach. And he used to give, for anyone that needed some training. There is one devotee in Halifax. She was little sick. To her, she used to teach Viveka Chudamani on telephone that time, telephone classes. So that was his feeling and service to the people, to the devotees. Very kind and good administrator. In Toronto, that we do puja on puja celebration day model. Celebrations are also many celebrations he introduced, and what we do is we make songs, devotional songs, and puja goes on. So that also he started.
And he
During
used to
puja.
sing.
He used to sing. He used
Yeah.
to sing few songs that
Yeah.
were very.
He had some favorite songs
Yeah,
that he
some
always
Mother
sang.
Kali's favorite songs were
Yeah,
there. He used
yeah.
to sing. And not only that, when he was almost going away, he knew when he to go. When he could write, he made all the thing what one should do when he passes away. And he wrote, call that person should blow gong, then put the body there, then chant these chantings, these songs you should sing when the body is gone. Like as if he was organizing an event that he organized his own after his passing away, what we should do.
Yeah.
It was good for him, like that. I heard about Swami Mumukshanandaji. Mumukshanandaji was the trustee for order. He was my principal in the training center. So he became sick, and to his sevak, he said, go now, just come after having a meal or something. If you see I'm still breathing, so don't bother anyone.
Right.
If you see, put your hand near my nostril. If I'm not breathing, go to the people and tell them that Swami has passed away and inform General Secretary and all that. So it was so like that. Passing away was no problem at all. So like thing. The Brahmachari came, Sevak came and put his hand near the nostril. He was not breathing and informed. Maharaj has passed away. Chetananand has some stories about the passing of the monks.
Yes.
He said one monk was there in Sevapatistan. He said he was very excited about the passing. I want to know what happens after death. So I'm very curious about that. No fear of death. They were all.
Swami Brahmarupanandaji also. Yeah, he was kind of relieved when he heard when he said, no, don't give a respirator or anything like that. They said, okay, then that means he cheered immediately cheered up.
Oh my
brightened up and
God!
everything.
Yeah, you see. Oh. Swami Ishatmanji was saying about one young monk who had got cancer. He was Bhandari in Advaita Ashram when he was there. So when he got cancer, so a lot of treatment had to be done, sent to Mumbai and all that. The beginning time, they didn't have so much of fund. So headquarters were doing. One day he said to General Secretary, "Why do you spend so much money on me? This body will not last. Even if we do treatment, it will last for maybe how much we don't know. So and this body is not that great. So you don't need to make it live longer. So rather you keep that money to do some other work. For if it was like great orator or great president, then it's okay to spend money. Why you will spend so much money on me for the treatment? So please don't send me to Mumbai or don't spend money on treatment." And gradually he passed away. But he was so much considerate and he took the passing away as the normal thing. When I used to come to Asansol, Swami Mitranandaji was there. Mitrananda, he was secretary of Swami Madhavanandji. Madhavanandji was secretary sometime, yes. Um, and Pramothanji was the secretary of Madhavanandji, yes. Maybe after Mitranji, Pramothanji. So he also had cancer at the last stage. After doing some time to Mumbai, going there and treatment in Kolkata, there is no good treatment. After that, he said, "I don't want to go. No more treatment. Body goes, it go away." So like that, the monks are really in a problem.
We can stop then if you
Yes.
want to do some
Yes.
closing chapters.
Yes. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu